JAFFOs, ball out Pro Bowl, Tony Romo, 40-yard dash, boy, don't be slow-mo. Get on the court, boy, I'm in go. Outside in the sun like Elliot Kobo. I'm running fast, LA de la Cruz. Turn on the JAFFOs, get my news. A7FL doing good, how I knew. All-Pro JAFFO, the All-Pro, jump talk sports. They speak fast, you talk smack, you get sacked. Come tune in, sit in chat, sport you like, they speak all that.
Hey, yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the All-Pro JAFFOs, bringing you the highly elevated sports talk for the highly elevated sports fan. I am your host, the bad guy, JP. Alongside me, as always, the prodigy, the man who can do it all, apparently, Mr. EJ Wizzle. Joining us in a little bit, we will have the best DJ on the entire planet, Mr. DJ Mad6, joining us. Packed show today. A lot of stuff happening this weekend, so we're excited to get into it. And first things first, ladies and gentlemen, you know him. He's been part of the show before, part of the Jaffo family for a long time now. A A7FL champion and now member of the Trenton BIC. Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffa Army, please welcome back Mr. Trey Robinson. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, guys. What's up?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Exciting game this past weekend.
Yeah. Real close one.
Real close. Went into overtime, 40-39. I mean, we had talked about it before. Renegades have been giving the BIC a little bit of problems these last few seasons, but you guys ended up coming out on top.
Yeah.
And just looking at it going, obviously there's a lot of questions that people are throwing around now. Wondering about the BIC, where they're at, if they're going to be, even in the championship game this weekend, like with all the talk and stuff that, or not this weekend, sorry, in the championship game towards the end of the season, but with all the talk that's going around, how much have you heard of it? How much are you even willing to respond to?
Well, no, I mean, whatever you ask me, but I mean, I see shit every day. But that's what happens when you're a good team, you know. You got haters, you got motherfuckers that, don't want to see you, succeed. But the game against the Renegades, they're a good team. Like, I see them, being one of the top 4 teams, top 5 teams here in Jersey. So, I mean, here on the East Coast in general. But that's probably the best game you'll see them play all season.
For their sake, I hope you're wrong, but I mean, it kind of happened that way last year, but it's a very different team now, so we'll see what happens. And with the BIC now, I mean, obviously this team has been a staple in the A7FL for a long time.
Yeah.
Going forward, what are you guys looking at from what happened this past weekend? And to move on to get better and be able to kind of basically shut the haters up as the season keeps going.
Yeah, to be honest, from this past weekend, it was just like little mental mistakes, like linebacker not having a running back, or just like little miscues. It wasn't nothing major, or it was like we had gotten out of place. It was just mental mistakes. And as far as like, in the season, like, we ain't worried about nobody. We're going to come out and play our game like we do every game, And only thing that matters is the scoreboard at the end of the game. So, motherfuckers can think what they want to think, say what they want to think, But at the end of the day, you still haven't beaten us. The only team that can really say they beat us is the Somniacs. And even that game should have been our game, but, that's another story.
Things happen in that game, so that, I mean, the things go how things go when you have 2 really good teams at the top of their game playing each other. That, I mean, however the dice rolls is how it rolls at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely, it was a great game. I mean, this week you guys have the QC Crush going into Cincinnati. One thing that I've been asking people, especially when it comes to the travel, are y'all prepared to be able to travel well going to Cincinnati to play the Crush?
Yeah. We're going to probably have about like 18, 20 people out there. So we should be all right, And We ain't really worried about Crush. We try and be home by. We try and leave him before halftime because it's supposed to be raining out there.
Yeah, it's the weather's not supposed to be great in Ohio, but I mean, it is Ohio. We don't really expect too much coming out of that. But I mean, the QC Crush put on a pretty decent showing, at least the beginning against the Animals. Was there anything? I mean, obviously you said you're not really worried about them, but is there anything about the team that you guys would key in on going into this week?
Just I wouldn't really say containing Keno because he's not going to really have time to really do what he wanted to do. But just us playing our game, like that's it. Like our best against your best. That's the mentality that we have. We don't really care what 7 you got in the field, but our best 7 is better than your best 7. So that's just how it is.
And then how was the team? I mean, because obviously, like being real, this past week was probably not ideal in how y'all wanted things to go. So what was the
week 1? Week 1 we rusty, bro. Like, come on, we ain't play ball in like what 6 months, some shit like that. So we a bit rusty. We didn't even have the team fully there. We only had about 17, 18 players on the sideline. If you guys, if everybody watched the game, clearly, our team wasn't even there. So it's like, yeah, it
so
wasn't.
I mean, with the team not being there, is that like was it the people just couldn't make it, whether it a function, work, whatever it may be, or is it players just kind of it's this team, we don't need to show up today?
Nah, ain't nobody like that over here. Like everybody who missed either injured or have other priorities going on. No one never not to show up because they don't want to show up. That's not how BSC rock.
No, I hope not, because I know that there are teams that actually function that way at every level and stuff. When they look at a certain team on the roster that they don't feel worthy enough, they don't end up showing up to the game. So I'm just trying to make sure everyone's got the head on correctly, because I've been saying it throughout the week. I'm not even close to being one to hide it. The East has honestly quite a bit to prove, and I don't think people deciding to show up or when to show up is going to be good for anybody who comes out in the East. So looking the BIC, obviously once again one of the pillars of the league, making sure that that's not one of the problems. That's a good thing to see, because again, the East can't afford it going into this season. So I mean, after this week, were there any conversations about how to, like, what was, I mean, obviously again, it wasn't necessarily ideal, but were there any conversations that were going on ways to improve, or things that y'all can't do next week, or even going into the next week or the rest of the season for that matter?
Yeah, see, that's one thing about this team is like, after we have like 3 or 4 video calls a week, and we go over film, and we make adjustments on watch film, and we all come to agreement, like we all get on the same page. So yeah, of course we make adjustments, even as far as defense. Like our defense was our biggest problem, but we sat back and we watched film, and made adjustments to plays and certain personnel. So yeah, we always looking to get better, but no, nothing really changes versus Crush this week, or just staying in our lanes, linebackers hitting the gaps, and everybody having fun.
And then for you, you're still going both ways, right? You're still running defense and offense?
Yeah.
No, okay. So for you, being one of the Ironman, I mean, there's a decent amount of Ironman players, in this league, but to basically, keep up with the conditioning, keeping up with, like, what is it to keep your head on straight when it comes to being one of the Ironman athletes on the team?
Just staying healthy, man. That's it. Taking care of your body and staying locked in. That's pretty much about it. Making sacrifices now, so basically you ain't gotta make them later on down the road, type shit. That's pretty much it. Like, just know, like, I mean, for me personally, I know how to feel to win a championship and lose a championship. So like for me, for me, it's different for most people. But yeah,
Is there anything going into this season that you guys are looking forward to? Either a team on the schedule or anything else like that you guys are really kind of eyeing it and going, we need to be on our A game here?
We're looking forward to getting it back in blood in Vegas. That's all we care about. We don't care about no other team, the Watchmen. We don't care about none of them. You know, that's not our goal. We want it back in blood in Vegas. We want the championship to be in Vegas. We want it to be.
And it is from what I'm hearing, there's about a 90 to 95% chance that it is going to be back in Bullhead City. A place that you know very well from your past championship with the Insomniacs taking on Tampa. That environment there was, a great environment, big environment. So y'all coming out to Bullhead is definitely, if you, and I say if because, I know what the mindset is, Trey. I get it. I completely get it. But I would be naive to say that it's not going to be a tough road. Yeah, because the East is still the East. It's still a tough, division to get through. I know you're not necessarily looking past teams, and I know that there is a goal of we want to be able to get to, basically to run it back, get it back in blood. But right now, there's a bit of not so much as talk, but there's a bit of a vibe or a buzz going on right now that some may say that they're worried about the East. I've kind of said it a little bit too, because, of everything that's been going down these last few years and things that are looking to be happening in the future. What are some things that the BIC is doing organizational wise that you guys are going to make sure that you guys stay at the top of the food chain?
Just preparation. Like they don't really got to do much. I mean, we all signed up for the same thing. We all agreed to play for this team for the same goal. So it's not really the organization. It is basically the team itself. But just preparation. Having the funds to be able to go and do shit. Go places and just having the stability for the team, I guess you could say. But
so now, and then going to Vegas to Bullhead City, is there any worry about travel when it comes to getting the whole team there? Because I know for damn sure y'all don't want to end up like Tampa where they only had 8-9 guys on the sideline.
I wouldn't really say it's going to be a problem. You think everybody who everybody who lost this past championship, you think if when we make it to the championship, they're not going to want to be a part of that game? Rather the organization pay for themselves or player play for themselves. I guarantee they're going to make it to Vegas playing that game.
And I hope so. I honestly hope so, but because the only way to make things better is if that type of stuff happens. To be able to get everybody there. Either the organization pays for it, whether players pay for it. I know everybody has the want to get there. But again, sometimes that's been a problem, especially in the past, the funds and everything to get there. I'm just trying to find out, especially where everybody, each person that I talk to, I've asked the same question. When it comes to travel, because I'm looking future-wise of the fact of having interconference play during the regular season to be able to kind of build it at that point. So kind of seeing and pinpointing where teams are when it comes to their finances and travel this year kind of gives me a gauge on what it's going to look like, within the next 5 years, so Trey, you're obviously a veteran of this league. It's this is definitely a league that I know that you enjoy playing in. So far that you've seen across the league, is there anything that's brought you a little bit of excitement? Maybe not so much as BIC. Oh, we got to get back to the championship and everything, but total outlook. How do you see this league and where it's going?
I see the league. I mean, I see the league 50-50 to be honest, because like I'm very upset that Florida is not part of this season. I mean, yeah, this year's season, and if they are, they don't have many games, I'm assuming. And the same with Ohio, all these teams were starting to grow the league, and then you see a lot of them drop out or no longer playing no more. But the league, as far as growing, it's doing good. It's doing good. I can see the league in the next 5 years, maybe playing at, stadiums or actually having a live broadcast like Fox or something like that, like a national televised TV like that. But so like
So, I mean, you've been part of this, especially the I guess official / unofficial, the Players Association stuff. Has there been talks amongst the players on how to be able to make that happen, to be able to make the league grow bigger than what it is now?
They need that shit, bro. They need that shit because players got voices too. Not to be funny, but at the same time, all the owners, all the owners are making money off of us. So it's like not saying like that shit, but they making money. I mean, then shit, I don't even know how to say it, but anyways,
I know. I get what you're saying.
It's the players need to have a voice too. Like certain shit that it's not fair, or at the same time when people want to do like suspension and shit like that, the players should have that person or those captains be able to speak on their behalf and it actually be heard and not just go through one person to make a decision, bro. Like that shit's not fair. You can't have an official making decisions on players playing and not playing at the same time. You're an official. You're not a fucking representative of the league or nothing like that, bro. So yeah, any professional or any big time league always have a players union or players, so yeah, it's only right.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I mean, the one thing that's kind of thrown, because I don't even know if when it comes to like big time like the NFL or anything like that has, when it comes to suspensions, going through like the players and trying to find out hey, should we do a suspension here? That would be one of at least a revolutionary aspect is when the higher ups as well as the players come to a decision on a suspension or something like that. That would be definitely something that would be very interesting. That's different compared to any other league for sure.
So think about it. So within the next 5 years, what if the A7FL become like the CFL level and NFL level? Then what you gonna do? You're gonna have to do it at that point. You feel me? So it was like, why not do it now? Get the shit out the way, so that way it could be more established now. Get the bumps and kinks out the shit out the way right now before the league, really take off.
Yeah, I mean,
the players haven't thought about doing that yourselves?
Yeah, I started a page and we already got over like 500 members on the page, bro.
Okay,
all players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you definitely got everybody who's working out the kinks and everything once it gets to that point in time. That's for sure. And I know that at least talking with Derek Duncan and others, there is a want to, especially to get to the point where the players are actually benefiting financially, not just from the pot at the end of the year, but being able to pay players to actually play the game.
I've been hearing players been getting paid $400, $300, $200, $500.
There is them one players that even in the them leagues that we know that's out here, JP, they will play that. Them guys, they'll get paid under the table, at least probably like what, maybe 300-400 a game.
$400 a game. I ain't never get paid that much. I got paid like I think for the Somniacs it was like 1,200 or something like that. I don't know. Could be less than that, but I know it
For
wasn't
the for the total
$300,
year?
like for the championship, for the winnings or whatever the case was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, I ain't never get paid up $300, even with the pit bosses. When you never get paid on fucking $300 type shit. Like, nah, bro, hell no. You know, you put $300 in gas in one season alone. The fuck you gonna do with $300?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, with the winnings getting like the 1,200 total and stuff like that, you know, at least right now, that's what's making sense. But I'm talking about getting like basically game checks, like week to week type of stuff.
If we get the right investors and everybody get on board, I don't see why everybody can't eat. You know, everybody can eat.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, because right now it's at the winnings are at 25K, and I'm wondering if somewhere down the line, at least getting up to that point, where if the pot gets a little bit higher.
It used to be 50.
Bro, the pot used to be 50K, bro. They took it down, I believe, our first year of the Somniac season to 25,000. But the years before then, it was like, I believe, it was 50K.
Probably because of the expansion, maybe.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I know it was 50K before, and I think it was the same way when I was playing Town Beef, I believe, or some shit like that. Maybe not, or maybe just A7, but I know for sure, like before, it was 50K, and then they changed the shit at the end of this. I mean, when Insomniacs first came into the league.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, especially with the expansion of the team. That's more finances coming into the league. So how?
Can I ask you this? So think about it. If we gonna be if we going to have a players union, then that means every player got to sign contracts. You feel me? Within those contracts, is it going to be workers' comp guaranteed? What if players get injured? Are they guaranteed? You know, like, it's shit like that they got to think about. But, I mean, it is what it is, bro.
I mean, that's one thing that I've always, you know, especially if you're trying to, you know, create a league that's going to be, you know, getting bigger and bigger and bigger as the years go on.
And it has the platform. It has the platform. It has everything else it needs. It just need like real investors. Motherfuckers are really gonna put their time and money into this league because the platform is already there.
And I had asked that question before. What do you think it will take for investors to actually start putting some serious money into this league?
Just a lot of shit.
I mean, honestly, from, you know, my perspective, like more, you know, consistent teams, and then a broader, like, you know, more teams in certain areas. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah. Same.
Because I mean, if you go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead, bro.
Because I mean, if you looking at it, like, how many teams is in Vegas?
Like 4 or 5, I think.
About 4 or 5 now. 5.
I mean, you know, of course the entertainment is there, but it's like with them teams, the teams that's playing, like that, the, you know, like the Insomniacs and then the Sick with it, the teams they're playing against, they blowing them teams out every week.
Thank you. Listen. Can I say one thing about this real quick?
Go ahead.
It ain't to throw no shade at nobody, but remember the season we won championship with the pit bosses, bro? We was whooping everybody ass. You feel me? And they would not let us go past the third quarter when we was up all these points. I sat here and watched the game last week, and the score went to 78 points. The game should have been over, bro, at halftime. I mean, you feel me? At the end of the third quarter. So why is it different now that, like, nah, like, but anyways.
I was wondering about that too. When it's 66 at the half, at what point are we gonna, you know, call it a day? And
it's just probably stuff like that, you know, the investors looking at is like.
Well, I mean, and I had said it at the point too of being able to kind of, get more, not so much as more teams, but more competitive teams. Like all of these teams in every single division, like there are more cupcake teams than there are legitimate teams. And if that can get ironed out at least a little bit, it'll make it, better in the long run. It's just a
But you
matter of
know,
how is that going to happen?
but you got shit like you got stuff that goes on behind the scene as far as like certain teams not wanting to let certain players go, so that way they can go to other teams to make those teams better. It's petty shit like that behind the scenes that everybody don't know about, but it happens. It happens very often. Even in Vegas, like it happened. But yeah, it will never. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's just Insomniacs and Sick With It out there, and Sick With It don't look the same team they was last season. So at the end of the day, it's like who's gonna win every single week. It's nothing to be excited about or want to look forward to it. Maybe the downside of it is okay. I want to put my own team in in the league and make them good. Type shit, but. No, you can't have a team from Vegas, a whole Western Division with everybody with matching tops and bottoms, and then come to the East Coast and you got motherfuckers wearing T-shirts and jerseys. Like you can't do that, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
Yeah, I've said that before too, especially with the players that are, more willing to kind of just take that back seat and then, just to either ring chase or whatever. I know some players have whatever reasons that they have to stay with the team or not move on or whatever the case may be. But in order for teams to get better, in order for the division and, for overall the league to get better, I mean, you got to even them out. And if there is shit going on behind the scenes where it's just oh, we can't let this guy go, or we can't just for whatever reason. I mean, I understand that the team wants to stay good and all of that, but it for me it's kind of a prove it thing. Like, yeah, you have the talent, but can your coaching also take you there? Can your can the ownerships or whatever take you there? Like it's one of those things going, all right, well, when you don't have a stacked team where every single player from your first string down to your third string are essentially all stars,
Right.
how can you guys
You
when
can't
you
say that
break
about
that
the East.
down in half and have other players move around, making other teams better? It's like how can you stay on top that way? That's really, at least for me, and I know there are going to be a lot of people who don't like that, and that again, that's completely fine. It does not matter to me. But how I look at it is the more the more competition that you can bring to the league, the better it's going to look. The way the investors, everybody's going to look at it, because I mean, again, seeing a team getting blown out 66-0 by the half, to a lot of people that's not entertaining. To that's kind of boring in some ways. Like, yeah, you're seeing creative stuff, you're seeing exciting plays, you're seeing all of that stuff that the league brings, but after a certain amount of time, shit, 66-0, yeah, I can change the channel, I can move on to something else. I can go, I can wait another half hour until this game ends to go ahead and watch the other game. There's just a lot of things that can be polished up. And there's I've got a lot of faith in this league. I really do think that, especially with players coming together, like you're trying to do with having that players association, so everybody can have that conversation with each other to be able to further get this league to where it can go. I mean, it's really only a matter of time, especially if things already right now are kind of in motion to do that.
The thing, hold on, let me go back on what you said about, as far as like stacked teams and whatnot. You can't say that about the East, bro. You can't, because think about it. You got the U, you got BIC, you got the Renegades that are good now all of a sudden this year. You got the Animals. Like, you have teams over here that are good teams. You feel me? Like, so you can't say any team on the East Coast is stacked because it's always the top three teams every single season. Like, compared to the West, whereas though it's just either the Insomniacs or Sick with it. It's I don't know, man.
This year with the Vegas division, the Force folded, but you got teams like the Stealth now. The Hunters are trying to kind of bring things together and stuff. So there's stepping stones to certain things. I'm not at all saying that it's going to happen overnight. But there are things that every division should probably look into. Going, okay, how do we make the division more competitive all the way around from top to bottom, every single team? And when that conversation starts to go, which I'm sure it is, because again, especially talking with Derek Duncan, that he's doing his damnedest to make sure that the league top to bottom is getting better. So I don't have any doubts that at least the Vegas division.
I don't know about all of that, bro. Come on, let's keep it a buck, bro. All the good talent goes to the Insomniacs and Sick with it. That's it. And the only reason why all the good talent goes to the Insomniacs and Sick with it is because motherfuckers want to win. They don't want to go to no rebuilding team right now. They don't want to go to no team who won a game in the last 3 seasons. They don't want to do that shit. So of course they're gonna go to the good teams.
I agree. I've said that before. Like if that's how you're gonna play, if you're basically just showing up to be able to say, "Oh, I played for a winning team," then it's not gonna get better. Just flat out. Right. You can win rings every single year, but the league is not going to be where it should be if that continues to happen. Like, I have no doubt that does happen. I'm just saying that there needs to be things done to make sure that every single division gets better along the way. And not just talking about the East. I'm obviously talking about the West. I'm obviously talking about Ohio, if they decide to come back and have more. I'm definitely talking about Florida needs to have more than one team. They're talking about expansions to other parts, going to Texas, more of the Pacific Northwest, going into Northern California. There's all these talks.
What if they did a draft? What if they did a draft for each division? Just did a draft,
like a fantasy draft style.
Yeah,
that would shake things up. That would shake things up. I think that would definitely make it interesting. That's for damn sure. So if that's something that decides to get done, then cool. We can see a little bit more balance and stuff like that to it. But until then, it's just a matter of time. There's obviously a whole bunch of things that we can look at and pick and pick and choose, and we can do better here. We can do better here. Of course, and especially when you're trying to get to the league to where it can be, those conversations are going to happen. But right now it's at a point where just everybody's got to continue to keep balling out, keep showing that this league is actually worth something. So more investors and stuff like that come in, keeping things exciting, keeping that players association and stuff like that together to where it can further build in the future. So like what's going on right now, there's again, it's not perfect by any means, but there's a lot of potential in this that we're excited to see.
One thing they need to do, and I hope Derek Duncan and Ryan DePaul and all those guys is watching this, is that you guys need to get live streaming in Baltimore. Like there is no live stream games in Baltimore whatsoever. That's one improvement that you guys have to work on, bro, is getting live stream games, in Baltimore. And that helps people, and at the same time, it helps everybody in every single way. That helps teams, with film. That helps players and, family members watch the game live, home, sitting in their house and shit. At the same time, it also helps the league, get more notoriety. So why wouldn't you want to help Baltimore get, live stream games, shit like that?
Yeah, broadcasting helps so much,
and especially with the Watchmen being, one of those top teams in the East. You got to be able to showcase one of your top teams, not just when they come to New Jersey. You got to be able to showcase them when they're at home too. So yeah, that's definitely another thing that needs to.
Improvement. That's a big improvement.
Absolutely. Trey.
Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, but I was saying, like, look where I am right now. I'm in Philadelphia, bro, and it's not one Philadelphia team here in PA. You feel me? This is a whole untouched market. So what if somebody were to take a team from Philadelphia, recruit all the best players here in Philly, and become part of the league?
We need it. We could use it. The more places, especially with top talent that the league can go to, it's only going to benefit the league. So that's just what it's going to be. So we'll see how it goes. Trey, always a pleasure, sir, bringing
Thank
you
you,
on the
guys.
show. We will talk
Yep.
to you guys again soon. Good luck for the rest of the season,
Thank you.
and
Yes, sir. Good luck, man.
we'll see you again, sir.
I'll see you in the championship game, y'all.
We'll hope to see you
Oh
back in Bullhead.
boy.
We'll see. We'll be there.
All right, guys.
All right, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Trey Robinson of the Trenton BIC, formerly a champion for the Insomniacs and for the pit bosses and
Hey,
stuff like that as well. And now
I
going from
got
one
real for a
league.
minute, bro. That got real for a minute. I ain't gonna
No,
lie. That got
of
real,
course,
man.
and I like it. And speaking of real,
Mm-hmm.
from one league to another,
Oh boy.
What's
the
going
Kangaroo
on with
Master
y'all, man?
himself. Bring it on for the CFCA
Kangaroo.
2024 champions, the River City Tigers head coach, Coach D, Derrick Watkins. How are you, sir?
So with y'all, man, I'm doing good. Enjoying this Friday night before the game. How y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
All
Doing
right,
good,
it's a
coach,
good
man,
Friday. Pack shows are always good.
No, definitely.
Man.
So tomorrow, obviously, game against the Outlaws. Tigers have been looking good. I mean, last game did a little rocky, started out,
It was
but
a crazy one to say the least. It was a wild game. Sure.
a little rocky to start. But I mean, the final score was what the final score was. So, what are things
Mm-hmm.
that are being looked to improve on going into this week tomorrow?
Penalties and turnovers. I got 3 keys to football. I've been preaching. It's something I learned at a young age from Coach Ira, one of my Pop Warner coaches. 3 keys to football is penalties, turnovers, and special teams. If you look at that game, we didn't dominate any of those aspects. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely the main thing is to pick up on Coach D's 3 keys. I believe if we win those aspects, we win the game.
And then, so that's obviously, I'm sure, during practices and everything like that, that needs to be, obviously discussed. Knowing your coaching style, that's going to be, rammed into everybody's head, especially going into this week. So especially with the Outlaws and stuff going, is there anything that you guys have been looking at? I know film watching stuff, some things that you guys need to prepare for going into tomorrow.
We just got to prepare for to play against a championship program, a championship team with championship leaders. I think that's going to be the difference in this game. It's kind of like the Beach City game. It's a different type of atmosphere for that game. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Tigers, we do well with playing up as far as playing down. You know what I mean? Like that's the gift and the curse of the Tigers right now. We trying to get the guys to dominate every aspect. So with this big game feel to it, and knowing the type of historic championship program we're going against, that got the guys, amped up to really make their mark.
PJ?
Nah, I'm just, it's definitely a big game tomorrow. I mean, real big, it's a lot of talk going on in the brotherhood.
Definitely.
There's always
Like you were
talk going on in the
saying, boy,
brotherhood.
what can you say? Let me see. I gotta word this because so with your quarterback situation, I was seeing you guys were switching a lot off, with the QBs. Do you guys have like the set, is it set Ace Boogie? Or are you guys still going back and forth between who is that? I think it's quarterback number 7, I believe it
Number
is.
7, Naaman Branyan,
Yeah.
and number 3, Randall Smith.
Oh.
We set with Boog. Yeah, we definitely set at quarterback. All of our kind of quarterbacks understand where they are on the depth chart. Last game when Boog did come out, it was more of a just come sit with me and watch from the side. I felt like at that time he was when the manager come and talk to their pitcher for a second. You know what I'm saying? I had to go and talk with him. and just see, where his head was at, and really to get him back mentally focused. I mean, it was only like a minute and so left when Naaman got in. So I was like, Naaman, run out the clock. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get Boog ready for a second half. When it comes to Smitty, Smith, number 3, I call Smitty. He's our tempo quarterback. You know what I'm saying? It's a role that he's been in the past. This year, we ain't really got to that part of our offense yet. But, in that game, it was about that time to just break out different stuff. So, yeah, when you go to college, you see different systems, different quarterbacks. They get that tempo quarterback in and do a little different things than their starter can do. So that's what we do with Smitty. But
Yeah,
he was our starting
I was
quarterback here
definitely
too.
peeping.
So I mean, we got three starting caliber quarterbacks on our team.
Okay. Yeah, I was definitely peeping. Y'all was definitely trying, a lot of different things that, it was one thing, I ain't gonna say what it is, but I was peeping it. It was really getting y'all down the field, and who was that? The Bobcats couldn't keep up with it. But that was
Yeah,
definitely
for
I'm gonna
sure.
text
And
you. I'm gonna
that's
text you what it is, bro. Y'all should keep up with that. It was getting y'all down the field. It was working. I was like,
definitely.
oh, they didn't switch to something else. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing with our team. We got our guys been around for a while. Like some of the guys that you see are making plays right now. They've been on the team 2 or 3 years. You know what I'm saying? They waited their turn and finally getting a chance. So with our offense, we're able to do different stuff like that and on the fly because it's stuff we
Yeah.
practice, it's stuff we go over. We just like I said, I don't pull out everything every game. I ain't felt like I've had to yet, but in that specific game, you've seen us pull out different things, try to get the job done.
Yeah, definitely was peeping it. So, everything coming down tomorrow. How overall you feeling? Like what's your mindset and everything, who you watching out for, the
Um,
whole get down on the rule master.
oh, for sure. I feel good, man. I feel like it's our time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, my team each year goes through different battles within themselves. We got tested early, you know what I'm saying, with Beach City. And then we really got tested by a team that we felt wasn't as good as us. But any given Saturday, you know what I'm saying, in college, like I was telling my team, in college football happens all the time. You overlook a team going into a ranked, so to speak, ranked game. You know what I mean? And they almost caught us lacking. You know what I'm saying? They almost did. But going into this South Beach game, you got to look at Thad Vincent, number 5, free safety. He's been around the league since I was playing. So his knowledge of the game is top tier. So, that's a chess match in its own right. My play calls are going against what he got going on with the defense. They got Marvin Lamb. He's a former Tiger. You know what I'm saying? He's very knowledgeable of the game. Quez, a corner. You know what I'm saying? 2 years ago when we played us, he had 2 picks against us, a pick 6. Or close to a pick. Well, 1 pick 6 and then close to another. But it's guys over there, you know what I'm saying, that I got my eye on. I know we gotta play off of, things they do. D-line wise, they got a host of D linemen. Offensively, they got weapons. They got running backs. They got a bunch of running backs over there. They got a OG line. You know what I'm saying? Line that's played together. Gene Eason is one of the best linemen in the game. Him and Lou is a cold tandem on that side. They worked together for years. Lou's another former Tiger. So I mean, I could go on about what South Beach got. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I can tell you is, Father Time undefeated, baby. Father Time undefeated. Coach D over here coaching at 37. I know some of them older than me for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I was peeping something earlier. You feel me? If you don't want to say too much, you ain't gotta say too much. But I was gonna post it. I just didn't get around to it. I was busy today. I see Marcellus. He was dropping some hints, man.
Yeah.
Is he back on the field?
Oh man, check the roster, man. You got to check the roster. That's y'all job. Y'all supposed to check the roster
bruh.
before you come
Come on,
man.
Nah, I seen them hints he was dropping. First he sent a GIF contract, then he posted some game highlights, bruh.
Yeah.
I'm all like, Sellers must be back on the field, man.
The back signal went up, man. It's that game. You know what I'm saying? It's that time. Yeah, it's that time, man. You're gonna see some faces pop out that wasn't there last week. That probably wasn't there Beach City week. So yeah, it's a different tempo. It's a different atmosphere, I would say, for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I see somebody in the comments that says Stellis is on the roster. Ooh, okay. So so Stellis then got back from behind the camera and he back on the field. I knew it was a matter of time. I knew he couldn't step away for too long. I knew it
Hey, not
wasn't
for
gonna be
too
for
long,
too
man.
long, bro.
Not for too. You can't nobody stay there for the field for that long. You know,
Yeah,
that's why I
nah,
start
bro.
coaching. I start coaching. I don't miss it. I ain't got a chance to miss it yet. You know what I'm saying?
There's
I was
definitely
straight
that
into
itch
it, just on
that
a
people
different
seem to
side.
get.
What'd you say, Josh?
There's that itch that everybody gets every once in a
No,
while.
for
I get
real.
Oh
it to
No,
that
man,
for
coach,
real.
coach
exercise,
It's
went
man.
out there
real,
and
bro.
practiced, man. And man, I tore my knee up out there playing around with them youngsters, man. I had my itch satisfied. Okay.
Hey, bro, it's real, bro. I'm telling you, that's why I be broadcasting and stuff, bro. The itch is real, man.
I missed some work messing around trying to show them how to do the old counter step. You know what I'm
For
saying?
real? Hey, bro.
One thing that I wanted to add, because I mean I've seen it, stuff. I mean last season, going into this, and it's not just the Tigers; it's kind of everywhere else, as well. When it comes to fielding the team, getting people to get either to game or practice or whatever it may be, what's the most challenging part of doing that, especially in semi-pro?
It's simply communication. I tell you, it's
Hmm.
raw as communication. It could be a guy that need a ride. It could be a key guy, but he ain't asked nobody until 30 minutes before kickoff. And it's probably three dudes that live over in that area that can come get him. Or that's the biggest thing to me. I see, like, I played since '08, 08 to 2021. It just now the communication's easier. You got more access to everybody because of social media. So it really shouldn't be a reason why you're missing, unless if you don't have a ride, specifically. If you don't have a ride, there ain't no reason why you shouldn't get one. These
Hmm.
guys come all over. So I just say miscommunication, really.
Mm.
For real. That's definitely a big thing, bro.
Because
Because
some people
dudes
don't
don't want to,
check the messenger.
show up.
Practice may have changed
Hmm.
location within the day. You know what I'm saying? And the guy, oh, I thought we was at this field. And we be like, bro, like we posted in the team page, or you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So that's it. That's just the only thing I see. Tiger wise, we try to do a lot of stuff virtually. So to cut out that miscommunication, we try to do things more virtual, as far as like film study and stuff like that. It's
Yep.
easier for us to get guys that way rather than us having jobs and families and trying to meet up, at one spot and everybody watch film from there. That's always a challenge.
And this was another thing that and this isn't even just semi-pro. This is just something that I've seen in A7. This is in
I
every
don't get
other league.
it.
How do you prevent and stop the mindset of this team ain't worth nothing, I'm not going to show up?
A game like we just had. I'll tell you that. I bet you have to ask my team. I said, I bet they scared the shit out y'all, didn't they? Because it was a lot of dudes that overlooked that game. Like, hey, we got South Beach next week. Get my body right, or I got to go to work this week to make sure I'm there next week, or you know what I'm saying. So I think in order to stop that, you just got to be, you got to show everybody every game important.
Hmm.
My motto was I only have so many football games left in me. I ain't missing none.
Yep.
You know what
Man.
I'm saying?
Hmm.
I ain't missing none. And for me, it was like, okay, we playing this team. Shit, I'm about to go get 3 or 4 touchdowns and go sit down.
Hmm.
I'm not finna miss this game.
Man.
I'm finna get to it this game. Like, you know what I'm
Man,
saying?
for
Like,
real.
Make
Hmm.
a
that used
highlight
to be my
film out of this
mindset.
game.
So
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely,
that's
having
hard
that
too,
mindset,
starting to change.
especially if it's a weaker team,
Yeah,
go make a highlight film for yourself, get out there.
that was my
Uh,
motto. I'm finna go get to it. I'm finna
and
go crazy
and
this game.
and especially for a team that you guys are, tier 1, number 3 ranked, nationally,
Mhm.
that there's not really a whole lot of, especially y'all got the targets on your back.
Definitely.
Every team, doesn't matter what rank, what tier that they are, is going to come at you guys with everything that they got.
Everybody is on your head, man.
So
Sure.
like, and you guys lose to a good team. That's not too bad, but losing, if
So
there
first
would have been
year,
an L off the board off of last week,
Boy,
Ooh, you know the Brotherhood would have been on fire with some shit talking.
boy, y'all would have been lit,
That's
bro.
why I had to go stand off to the side and go reach that upper level. You know, I got the glow real quick. I had to put that on the team. This glow, I'm like, bruh, that's what I was thinking about. I'm thinking, man, I can handle it. You know what I'm saying? I can handle it, but can y'all handle it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I don't care. I talk shit. That's the sport of it. You know what I mean? That makes the sport of it. If you watch the greats of the past, Muhammad Ali, that's how he built his fights. You know what I'm saying? That's how Don King and everybody built up the events. You know, as a promoter. You know, that's what they were, promoters. Shit. Just
That
like with wrestling.
the competitive shit talking is always fun.
Exactly. As long as, you know, when it's all up, like I told the Bobcats, as long as when it's all said and done, we can hang out and enjoy the brotherhood afterwards. I don't care. You know what I mean? Y'all can say whatever you want between the lines. As long as after the game we all chilling in families, it's cool. That's all I care about.
I love what y'all do at the end of the
room.
games too, for real. Like that thing, that new what is that? The new thing that y'all got going on, praying with them after the game, bro.
Yeah.
That's needed, bro. That's needed for real.
So,
Coming
because, man,
together.
traveling these roads a couple years ago, bro, we had played the Nightmare, and they lost a player on the way to the game. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing when it comes to traveling. I don't care if it's an hour. I don't care if it's 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I got a player on my team that live an hour away. I tell him after every game, message me when you get home, big dog. You know what I'm saying? And we probably the same age, but as a coach, I feel responsible for y'all grown ass dudes. You know what I mean? Let me know. Let me know you made it home. Shit, you just played one of our linemen play a whole game and then got to drive an hour and a half home because he live up in the mountains. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I do think about, you know, when we be out there hanging out after the game, just making sure everybody get home safe. You know, I don't want no phone calls. I done had plenty of them. This person here, that person there, you know what I'm saying? They calling me like, damn.
Yeah, and then I mean, I've said this too, especially in every league, having the competitive banter, but then like you said, at the end of the day, being able to come onto the field, hey, good game. This because there's no room for soft egos in any league, you know, to be honest. So it's like, and then so how do you? I mean, I've seen it, but for those who haven't seen it, how do you combat that? You have, you know, a player on the sideline either talking too much, getting in their feelings or whatever it may be. Like, how do you combat that to get them out of that mindset?
You know, if it's a one-on-one basis, you know, I'm gonna go talk to dude. I'm gonna go talk to him. I'm gonna holler at him. I'm gonna try to get him out of his character, out of that mode. Try to realize that we on to something bigger. You know, whether I got to yell with him, you know, argue with him to get him to calm down. You know, I'm gonna do it. But when it starts to get so out of hand, and you've been there, you know, I'll blow my whistle and bring the team up as a whole and tell them what we not gonna do is be out here acting a damn fool. Because we got a lot going on in our city. Our city's behind us. The mayor be at our kids be at the games. You know what I'm saying? We do a lot of community events. And I tell them, you know, that's something we can't do. We've been at River City all years of being in Tigers. This 4 years going on at that high school. That's you know, that don't happen too often where it's one team play at the same high school for X amount of years so far, you know? So
There's a relationship built with that.
Yeah, we take care of our field, bro. Like, take care of this, or we ain't gonna have nowhere to go.
I mean, that's just the bare bones about it. And you guys have been really good at, you know, and shout out to Manny and stuff as well, putting everything out there like, hey, we're not gonna have this, we're not gonna have that. You have that type of shit, you will be sent home. You would like it gets serious, and that I don't think people understand. Especially when it comes to like semi-pro. I mean, the running joke, 37U, all that other shit that goes on, but there's actual like organization going on. There's actual like you guys have sort of become a model team to look at and go, oh, this organization's got it right because they built a relationship not just with the city, but they built a relationship with the high school. They're making sure that you guys aren't waiting to be told something. You guys are already trying to handle it before it even happens. And if it does happen, taking on that, the accountability of it and right and wrong, you know, type of thing. You know, so, I mean, outside of that, you know, this week, obviously is going to be a tough week, but as you know, the weeks continue to go, the season continues to progress. What does this River City Tigers team need to do in order to stay on top?
We got to get better every week. In whatever aspect we were lacking the week before, that has to become our strong suit coming into that next week. I feel like if we continue to do that, we'll start to chop those weaknesses off one by one, whatever weakness it is. If we lock in on that aspect of the game. One thing I can say about this year's Tigers team, we're a lot younger, but we have a lot more, I would say, like people that play college football. So their understanding of the game, their understanding of the coaching staff is a lot different than guys that have been career semi-pro players. Like, you know what I'm saying? They get into that mantra of doing things their way and arguing their way to a fault. Like Josh, you was on the team. You heard some of it last year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Definitely. So now it's more of guys that are really trying to get coached up and understand the coaching. They're giving their point of view, but they had that college mindset that these are the coaches, you know what I'm saying? And it's a way to approach them. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot different. So I think that, like I said, turn our weaknesses to strengths every week is going to get us through the season, because you see the schedule. We got Outlaws. We got Nightmare. We got Fury. We got Buckeyes. And then it starts to trail off. We got Reno, Pasadena, the Rattlers. But right now, it's every week. It's I ain't taking nobody for granted. I don't give a damn what they look like against anybody else or anything like that, because I know, like you know, everybody don't show up to every game. Everybody probably can't make that game. So I got to take it for what I see across, and that's what I go off of, you know. And that's one thing I do want to put out there for the Bobcats game. That was the first time somebody was more prepared at kickoff than us. And you know, Josh, my motto as far as what it is about getting ready, and I think that really is a pet peeve of mine. In that game, they was ready before us. You know what I'm saying? Came 6 hours and was on the field. I didn't even recognize it because we got a new check-in thing now.
No.
And Manny was absent this week, so I had to do the check-ins. But it looked like they was warming up to me, but I got a video from one of my coaches throughout the week. Was like, he showed me their side, and he like panned over to our side. And I'm like, damn. You know, so that's one thing. We just got to do what we do well every week. And like I said, work on our weaknesses.
I've seen you yell at the team when we're up 28-0, should be up 40-0. Like I've seen I've seen that type of disciplinary act and and I go, damn coach, it's 28-0. No, it should be 40. Yeah, you're also right,
bruh. When I was over at the what game was that, bruh, that I first did? Who did y'all play?
Was it the Heat?
Was it
or the Grizzlies?
Was that the Grizzlies game I was at?
Might have been the Heat, actually.
And you can, Brad. Everybody on the broadcast was talking about, dang, they're getting on them, bruh. And they was up too. They was
when he fumbled, yeah. Because look what happened. I got on somebody about fumbling like that in the preseason. You know, get a handoff, get an opportunity, fumble. What happens? Beach City Giants game. We get a handoff, we fumble it back to them. They damn near win the game based on that. What happens this coming week? You know, I'm talking about work on
fumbled again.
These are 3 different running backs, mind you. That's 3. Then this week, or Bobcat, another running back, he fumbled. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it was all the same principles. Like, get the ball first, fellas. Take care of the ball first. If you get a 5-yard loss, I'll take that. But you cannot fumble this football. Like, hell no.
It's like what we've been hearing, especially with the A7. You can't be dropping the church's money.
No, and we almost fucked off all the church. Excuse my language. We almost messed up all the church's money last week. Boy.
Hey, bro. Hey, you can hear me. You feel me doing commentary. Bro, the voice, bro. You feel me? That disparity in my voice. I'm like, bro, ain't no way y'all keep getting calls on these penalties, bro. I was ready to say it right then and there. I'm like, bro.
I've been doing cool with the refs. I've been doing cool with the refs, but I know you heard me up there. It was on. It was on and cracking, because I'm gonna tell you why. And I watched it on film the other day. So when Jerron had that big catch, right? He jumped up over dude. He got up. He spun the ball, and then he did the CeeDee Lamb celebration.
Mm-hmm.
We got the 15-yard penalty right after. So I go and ask the ref. I said, "What's the penalty for?" He was like, "Oh, well, he celebrated." I said, "This is a pro league. We can celebrate." I said, "We can celebrate." So I'm arguing with them about basic celebration. Now, first, that's what it started off of. That's when the white hat came over and he had a meeting with us. And he told them both that he's right. It's a pro league. They can celebrate. Then he went from, well, it was taunting. And then I was like, no, it wasn't. It's a first down mark. Then he said he pulled a gun out. And that was his celebration. That's why I was on that ref from that end zone all the way back to our side, back and back. Because I said, how do you even say something like that? You know that word is very sensitive in this atmosphere in our semi-pro football world. He said, well, he first said he reached into his pants, then he came up like this and did like that. I said, he never reached into his pants, sir. And then I go back and watch film. Sure enough, the flag was thrown when he threw the ball out to spin it. He never reached in his pocket pants at all. He did the CeeDee Lamb celebration. And I was just like, at that point, that's when I just had it with the refs. So I'm like, y'all just out here now. Like, so if you want to throw me out. But don't dog my team out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I was starting to feel at that game. It's like, no matter what's happening, these refs are going to make sure, you know what I'm saying, that we don't, whatever attitude they had with me, they was putting off on my team. So I said, fuck it, flag me then. I'm going to cuss you out. I don't care.
No, that's one thing, especially what I've seen with the coaching styles. Like you're gonna be there for the team, and you are not afraid to rip a new asshole when it comes to talking to the refs, especially off of stupid shit.
For sure.
So,
I was a player before. I know what it's like to where you can't talk to the ref. And then now it gets to some point in times where they try to tell me as the head coach I can't talk to him. I'll be like, nah, you can't do me like that. Like I won't disrespect you. I may be talking a little loud, but I'm gonna talk to you. What I'm saying is, come on now, don't tell me I can't talk to you. That's my job, to be the communicator in between. Like, you know what I mean? So
it's like you need to remember what league you're in. You're not up there just yet. Relax. It's not like these are NFL referees out here. Some of them couldn't fucking ref their way out of a goddamn Pop Warner game. I've seen some of that shit.
And I've been seeing them out there. You know what I'm saying? These same refs, I done see some of them coaching Pop Warner, or refing Pop Warner. So it's like,
oh man, Coach. Once again, appreciate you for coming on.
definitely.
Always watching. We're always keeping track, seeing what's going on. Big shout out to the team. Give everybody our love, and good luck tomorrow, and then good luck the rest of the season. Hopefully, we can have you on, mid-season stuff, be able to kind of talk more ball.
Definitely. Just want to give a shout out to my coaching staff, man. Coach Lynch, that's my kangaroo sensei, man. He got me into it. Coach Lynch, Coach Mel, he's our renaissance on the staff. Coach Washington, our O-line coach. Coach Powell, our special teams coordinator. Coach Hill, he was my fullback, my running back coach. Coach Q, he been with us on the defensive side. Who I'm missing? I don't think I'm missing nobody. If I'm missing them, they're going to be mad as hell. But my coaching staff, man, shout out to them, because without them, man, it's a bunch of older cats on the coaching staff. You know what I'm saying? They help sharpen the kangaroo. It comes from them guys in the backdrop. I just wanted that to be, put out there to the nation. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Tigers coaching staff, full of some cool OGs, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen of the Jaffa Army, once again, keep a lookout. The CFCA champions of 2024, the River City Tigers head coach, the Kangaroo Master, Mr. Derrick Watkins. We'll see you again, Coach.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Absolutely. Always fun. Always great to have Coach. Always great to have Coach, because it's just, tells it like it is. That's what we like having here. Just tell it like it is.
Even in 100.
And speaking of telling it like it is, he's a winning quarterback in the A7FL, ladies and gentlemen. Quarterback for the New Jersey / Old Bridge Hawks. You know him. You love him. Some of you don't, but that's all right, too. He always tries, Mr. Corey Hammond. What's up, Corey?
What's going on? I don't know if I've ever met Prodigy. What's up, man?
What's going on, Corey?
I think it happened one time.
Nah.
I think I was on
since
one.
I've been on the show, honestly. I feel like it's been forever.
I think the last time, no, you were on.
I popped on maybe what, last weekend or something?
No, yeah. You were on, I think, last week when we had Scooter on. You popped in for a little bit
Yeah.
on that one. Corey?
Yeah, so what'd you guys think of week 1?
I mean, we were looking forward to week 1, and I'm glad week 1 went the way it did. And I mean, shit, dude, like the ageless wonder. What's up with these? You trucking people now? Lead blocking? What the fuck's going on,
Nah,
man?
what I want you to do is, and fans of the show, go back to and go to the short on the Jaffo TV YouTube channel, right? It'll be a much easier back and forth for you. But after the game, we went back to the Airbnb to kind of like, settle in before we took the drive back to Jersey. And we were watching the game. Obviously, that play came on. It's a roast session. Even though it was a good play, it then becomes like funny to joke about in a lot of different ways. But the funniest thing is if you watch that clip, right? I'm running, doing my thing, whatever. I'll explain it in a second. After the play is over and I'm like walking back to the huddle, watch me. I elbow somebody that kind of was in my way.
Hey, no, I seen that. I peeped that. I
Right?
peeped that.
The funny part to that little aspect of the story is, when you're feeling yourself with the adrenaline after just, leveling a dude, right? Not something that happens to me every game, but it's if you actually watch my running style, the way I explain it is if I try to juke somebody, my muscles are tearing or something's getting dislocated or something. I'm not athletic enough to do that, right? And then if I were to slide, I'll probably friggin', my leg will get up underneath me. It's just not going to look pretty, right? It's not going to be graceful. It's not going to be a good look. So I run, and as I'm moving in full momentum, best thing to do is just kind of, find a place to put my shoulder, bounce here, bounce there, and eventually we'll get back to fight another down. But when I elbowed that guy, watch what he's wearing, right? He's in a green hoodie with the hood up. I can't see who it is, and it matches the other team. So in the moment, kind of like out of my periphery, I'm like, fuck out of here, like mean mugging, right? That's my teammate.
That was intentional. I thought that
Well,
was
I
bad. I
mean,
thought you bumped into him.
I
Corey,
wouldn't
there's no way,
I
bro.
wouldn't say I like was headhunting and was looking to like elbow somebody's ribs, but as the contact was made, I said, "Get off me," kind of shit, right? Because I didn't know who the fuck it was, and it was wearing green. It's kind of out of my periphery. I didn't know. It's Kenyatta or Euro, who's been playing with me since Boston. That's like my guy.
Hey,
And we
hey,
were
hey! If you were doing commentary, how would you have did that right there? If seeing somebody do that, how would you? How would you have did commentary for that?
for myself. Well, you hear
Yeah.
how our commentating team comments my games. It's a fucking joke, right? It's 73 years old.
Oh, that graphic was definitely dirty.
And that wasn't even Rob. That wasn't Rob. That was probably one of the Sobermans or Cole or Zach or the
I
culprit.
feel like if I'm going to pinpoint it, I'm going to say it was Alex. I'm going to say it was Alex who did that. If I'm going to pinpoint on
I
anybody,
think that's a Zach move.
that could be a Zach move.
I think
too.
it's a Zach move. But it could have been one of the Sobermans. I won't put it past any of them. Because Cole, you know how Cole gets a vicious Cole Gardella, and he's ready to roast. So honestly, he might be the leader in the clubhouse just based on how he's coming with the heat on shit like that. But how would I call that? I mean, I've called Scooter when he's trucked people. But the thing is that's not my place. That's Matt's place to get excited about that shit, and then I'll break it down.
I mean, you had Big Rob out of his chair.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can
Well,
tell
I
he
mean,
left the microphone. He was so excited about what
well,
he
I
just.
mean but that's the thing. It becomes, when they're calling my game, I almost feel bad for the teams I'm on because it becomes it's their guys, so they're half rooting for me, and when it doesn't go my way, they're trying to kind of like save face on the whole situation. But when it does go my way, they feel like they have the license to now make it a light situation. So like the whole LaCory thing, came out of the fact that when I would run, it was surprising that I would get as many yards that I did at any moment that I ever decide to. But people forget I ran the wing T in high school. Now I pigeonholed my coaches into turning it into 4 wide because I wasn't an option guy. But I actually call as like a play call. One of my go-to running plays in 7-on-7 is speed option because as a quarterback that's just standing there, when I hand the ball off, there's no way for me to account for that extra man. So when I'm just handing the ball off on an honest run play, it's now our 6 versus their 7, right?
Yeah.
But when you go speed option, I can account for that guy, leaving him unblocked. I make the option, and it's just smart numbers football. It becomes 6-on-6, 7-on-7. But I actually ran that play earlier in the game, and what I always want to do is attack that defensive end, get my shoulder into him, and pitch it so that the guy who's better at running the ball gets the ball. But and it's always BIC. The defender looks at me in my face and it says, "I'll go pitch man." So then I got to plant and cut up the field, and every single time I'm like, "Come on, man, this is not how the play was supposed to be designed." But
They're not
yeah,
giving you enough respect.
I mean, yeah. So the other thing with the running plays, right, is I probably I played. This is going to be what, my 13th season. Most of the seasons I was over 500. Let's say the couple seasons I was over 1,200, and there was a couple of seasons where I either didn't play as many games for whatever reason or whatever, right? So let's say I'm upwards of 8,000 yards passing in the A7FL, somewhere in that range, right? That's conservative estimate. My wife really likes the run plays. So when she sees the pass plays, it's just like, that's just, another thing. But when I run, that's when she's like, "Wow, I'm really proud of you, babe. That was a great game." It's like, I don't want to run. Stop making me.
And I have, and I had to ask you this because obviously I'm not the only one who saw it. Everybody saw it. It's on the social medias, so I know that everybody saw it. What the fuck was going through your head when you started, attempting the gritty?
Oh, no,
Why?
no. So I threw the touchdown pass, right? So this is actually I wanted to have one of the guys from our booth travel with us because it would have been interesting, whatever. Call it delusions of grandeur. I don't think anybody cared that much, but it would have been funny to kind of just like, get the origin story of whatever we end up being. We'll see if it, later. But a point of potential friction in any football team is when you have 2 quarterbacks that both want the job, right? Our backup, the other quarterback, however you want to call it, because he has a bunch of different roles on our squad, is the former quarterback, the guy, a guy that's kind of was jettisoned away from the Animals because he was the Animals quarterback. And then David Tender had his kind of meteoric rise, and then so Bebo or David Rios kind of got pushed to the side. Now he's on our team now,
Right.
and the cool thing about being able to go out there for a road trip week 1 with a team that I know a lot of the guys, but I still haven't played with most of them. I played with some of them, right? I told you about the Boston guys, and there's Mir Meyer. He's a corner, like running back. And then Kenyatta, Euro. Those 2 Boston guys I played with before. Bobby Newman, I was on the Hawks before. But pretty much everybody is, we're all getting to know each other. So me and Bebo, actually, we spent a lot of time hanging out because what I said to him is like, look, at this point, until I prove otherwise that I'm not good enough, I guess, I'm the quarterback. But I know that you have abilities and talents and skills. I want to be able to make sure that, just as play caller wise, offensive coordinator, air quotes wise, that we're getting the most out of you. That's who I threw the touchdown to, right? To go up. So I threw that touchdown to him, and he's off camera grittying, and then I grittied back. So I didn't it wasn't in my head that I was just about to hit a fucking Fortnite dance or anything. Oh my God. I wasn't about to hit a I wasn't about to hit a Fortnite dance or anything. But me and Bebo kind of we spent a lot of time that weekend kind of vibing, getting on the same page. And so to culminate me throwing him a touchdown, we were both kind of excited. And,
Where's the film?
if you ask Matt,
It's on the socials. Go see it.
Yeah, if you ask Matt, who's a teammate of mine, I do have, a goofy side, especially when things are going well.
No.
And so when Bevo started doing the gritty, I knew it would be ridiculous. What's funny is my guys gave me a little bit of credit for not being terrible at it, but I don't really even know how to gritty. I just kind of attempted it, and I guess I didn't do too bad of a job that it was at least recognizable as an attempt at the gritty. But again, it was another moment that broke Rob. So
Yeah, I
all the better.
heard you guys talking about that earlier, and I wanna talk about that mainly because it's not that we're more biased, because at the end of the day, the result is the result, and we can't, whatever.
Yeah, you
It's
called a
more
lot
of
of me losing.
yes.
Yes. So it's not
The vast majority of A7FL contests I've called over the last 6 years and 5 seasons is a fair amount of Corey Hammond on his back looking up at the lights. But it's because we react that way, obviously, because outside of work, Corey, Rob, and I are actually friends, and we like engaging and talking with each other. We want to see him succeed. Also, we understand. Yeah, I don't want to speak out of school, but the imploring, because we know he can still ball. It's not about whether or not Corey Hammond can still play football. Obviously, on Sunday he proved, aside from a tip ball and Amir Morris not going when he needed to go, there's a chemistry that the three of us have that's hard to replicate. And we also understand we're not going to be able to do this forever. So we want to get in where we can fit in and get in as much of this as possible, or maybe somehow, some way, find our way to sell enough band uniforms to move up to the next level, or whatever it is for us to Music Man our way to the next town. So it's like when we see Corey succeeding, it's like, okay, it's fucking working. It's fucking proving out. It's working for him, and he's able to do what he loves the way he wants to do it. Because 90% of what we do in the booth is because we have a certain amount of latitude, and if we didn't extend that to the guy that helps make this work, you can talk about me, you can talk about Rob, but all three of us in any combination work well together and are stronger together than we are apart. So it's trying to find ways to manufacture that partnership with him on the field, because we still have the ability to utilize Corey as an extension of our show, but instead of him in the booth fighting for his life in the comments, he's fighting for his life on the field.
Well, and even some of those,
not on the field, he's fighting for his life.
and even some of those blowout Boston games, I feel like I picked up people that respected, what I'm about. No, it's been a while since I had a game full of just pure highlights, right? But I do this thing that, and I kind of die on that hill, literally sometimes, I guess. where it's like it's well documented at this point. Kenny Stansbury told me that he wanted me to be a part of BIC the year that they made their championship run. And not that I don't love, like, and my wife still hates that I did this, but like the guys at BIC are family, most of them. I mean, especially the old guard, right? The newer guard, I mean, I'm cool and close with a lot of those guys. Even when I was at the Renegades, I still sometimes give those guys, a play here and there where they're like, yeah, you got me there. But Kenny was like, listen, bro, the Hawks are fucking with you, which was the truth, right? I don't know if you guys remember that year. They started a guy named Bigga, who by the end of the season, by the next season, was playing linebacker for the U. he's not a quarterback. Long story, whatever. But Kenny was like, yo, just come home, bro. Just come home. And I said, listen, I'm not doing that. Because if I do that now, that's against my entire fucking mission statement. Is I'm gonna join up with the team that's right there and kind of watch most of the time while they win a championship. Now, they told me that if I were to come, that I would have a big role in, the communication part of the offense. I would be the guy that rotates in with Sterry, and I would probably get a good amount of snaps because guess what? BIC blew out a lot of teams that year. But that's not who I am. I would rather go out fighting with guys that believe in me to be the number one guy than just be on the roster to say that I was winning, because that to me is an empty victory, right?
Mm.
I hate the fact that I kind of identify with that a lot. Like,
I think it's okay to be an underdog. I think it's okay to know that you're staring a tough game in the face and you're not going to back down, right?
I mean, and to be honest, and again, we just talked to Trey at the beginning of this, and it kind of came up again of kind of players having the mindset of, if you're good enough and you think you're good enough, instead of riding the bench or instead of, just kind of basically showing up for a jersey to say you guys won a game, to go to a team to make things more competitive, to be able to go to a team and, all right, if I am who I say I am, let's elevate this squad. They've got a couple of good pieces here and there. Let's go over here and let's try and, get things moving. And then
I want to speak on that because it's a really good point. And I think this season we're seeing it prove out more, especially in the East, because of the various things that have happened in the off season. Whether, like, if the Snow Tribe stays, if X, Y, and Z happen, what is it that we see? Does this actually prove out? If everything stayed static, and also Corey looks handsome, even though he looks 25 and 54 all at once, it's confusing.
The gray hairs is what throwing it off.
Just to report the shaving, I usually shave approximately once a month. I buzz, so it's a stubble. It's not the full beard. It's more. I can't be out here Grizzly Adams. Grizzly Adams did have a beard, guys.
He did have
What's
a beard.
going on, LJ? How are you, sir?
But yeah, sorry, Matt.
No, I
great
just
comment.
I feel like in other seasons, I'm not as sure it would have worked out. Not for you. I just mean in general for a lot of guys who wanted to say that they wanted to be the guy. Like, a lot of things worked out. Amir Morris being a free agent, a lot of the guys and that's just also Corey being a good recruiter and saying, hey, we have a chance to do something here. We're with a team that, was known for stability. They took a few years off because Bobby wanted to make sure when he came back fully loaded. And obviously it worked out. I think that this year is the most important year in A7FL history because of that. Because last Sunday we saw the BIC, who usually don't start so fast. I said it on In Motion. Me and Corey talked about it. And you can watch it on Triller TV Plus and Fox Soul before the games of the week on Sunday. Not a cheap plug, but just, oh shit, our television show airs in actual places. We went from doing the 3-on-1, which was basically this on Zoom with me having a nervous breakdown trying to make sure the things work, to me having a nervous breakdown making sure the things work, but it airs on like regular TV. But I feel like this is what the future of the league looks like. I really liked what I saw from the QC Crush. I liked some stuff from the Octane. I'm really excited about the Virginia Heathens. Corey, like that Ryan Burroughs guy, holy shit, pal. Like, how do you game plan against that as for your defense? Like, what the hell do you do against a guy like that who, from what we hear and from some of the footage we saw, they were, if not for a couple of drop passes, that game's completely different and maybe in Virginia's favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the score was 30-12, so you do the math, it's 4-2, right? And then extra points and shit, right? I don't know. From what I saw on film, you have the flash plays. See, for me, when I'm really breaking down a quarterback, especially the more and more film you get on a quarterback, let's take the kid from the Renegades, right? Anthony Service. The plays that show me that he's a real baller aren't the obvious ones that made the highlight, where it's the wide open pass to the guy who has nobody around him, but it's a long touchdown, so we're gonna celebrate it. Or he sees that nobody's got a spy on the quarterback, so he obviously has the athletic ability and speed to take advantage and score that easy touchdown, which is a great weapon to have. So, but that's not how I would judge whether he's a good quarterback or not. We've seen Kenneth Stewart do that. We've seen Keels do that. We've seen, name a guy that you don't know the name of now. We've seen them do that in A7. What I looked at is on like third and medium. Two guys are covered. He hits the check down. All right. Or tight coverage. He's throwing away from the defender and locating the ball in a place where, even if it's incomplete, it's only where his receiver can get it. Right. When the plays mattered the most, he was releasing the ball, throwing it downfield, as opposed to running back and forth and just waiting for the defense to get tired and through a running lane. So for Burroughs, I haven't seen a lot of film on him for what he's doing as far as a quarterback. But physically, I mean, if he's committing himself to putting his shoulder into people's chests and running the ball like another tailback, that's an interesting offense to try to defend, because a lot of times the way the quarterback is going to do it to you in the A7 is by making you play another like safety type, corner type to deal with his speed.
Yeah.
Against this Burroughs guy, maybe you play another linebacker type to deal with his physicality. And then that, if he's capable, that hypothetically may open up, for in the passing game. But I will be honest, I have yet to see that, at least in the film against the Watchmen. I'm sure he's going to come prepared for games of the week and against us. But it will be interesting to see how he can execute quarterback plays, and he's shown that he can play rugby. That's for sure.
It was. I mean, this whole week was. There's a lot of good things that were shown, even in some of the when you look at Vegas, some of the obviously one-sided victories that happen with sick-witted insomniacs. It's just
Yikes.
Things happen the way I actually wanted to run this by you, especially Matt. I know the rules are, especially what they are when it comes to mercy rule, ending it at the third quarter, all that kind of stuff. But at some point,
at the end of the
mean,
first, some of them
66-0 by the end of the half.
Yeah.
At what point do we just say, all right, let's call it a day and let's move on to next week? I mean, there's got to be some sort of adjustment there. And then a second part, before I completely forget about it, a pretty interesting suggestion at the beginning of the show. And it made me kind of wonder, especially when it comes to what we've been talking about, balancing out, making sure the teams are competitive in all aspects, no more cupcake teams, no more blowouts, no more. What would be, or how would it be even possible to entertain the idea of a draft?
Matt,
Like a fantasy draft? Like
Matt,
something like that?
To not say that me and Corey have had conversations about this in front of Asbury Park Stadium with the lights off and both of us having various things with lights in front of them, me talking very fast with my hands about it. Theoretically, it should be the future of this league. But I think the one thing that we're very myopic in this league at the level of players, community, like this, the A layer of the A7FL, of the very tight community of players and guys like you who cover the league very consistently. We see it as this one thing, but in all actuality, it's something else. It needs to get to the point to where it is that thing. But right now, you're signing up to play with your boys. You're signing up to play with your friends, or you're signing up to compete. Luckily for a fair amount of people in this league, you can do both. In other situations, it's not that easy. But there are those who build off of that and develop community and develop consistency. And the BIC, they developed a contender. They got knocked out the box for a few seasons, had to rebuild, had to develop, but it yielded Ashante Worthy. It yielded Sterry Codrington. All of these, Kason Campbell, these great players on offense and defense. When you take that time where you bring somebody in like a Ron Clark or a Corey Hammond or an Amir Morris who have experience in this league and can run teams and have an operational sense of recruiting and developing, some of these other teams are still finding their footing. These are guys that are trying to build a program in a sport that is still fairly nascent. We're lucky in the Northeast because this is where the game was created for the most part. It's where it was developed. And the best, ambassadors to our game are going to these flag tournaments primarily here and getting David Tender, getting Manny Diaz, getting Kwani Morgan, getting Anthony Service. And
then you got K-Wack in people's DMs like he's trying to take him on a date.
Hey man, you got to recruit how you recruit, bro. As long as everything's cool in the light, the uncomfortable light of day.
As long as there's no baby oil involved, I think it is.
Achtung, liebe Corey, Scheiße.
At least I didn't say the name of the celebrity in question anyway.
I did.
Not the baby oil, boy. Don't get me started.
No, yeah, I was about to say, don't get EJ started on the baby oil, please, Corey. Please do not.
And out of context, that just sounds bad for you, bro. Like just saying, don't get me started when it comes to the baby oil. It's like, what? Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you that's like throwing a knuckleball and just letting it hang and Barry Bonds full cream and the clear, parking that shit over the Bay Bridge.
Full cream and the clear.
That's the shit I can't say on television.
Yeah. Don't worry, my first ever episode on this show, I think I slant made suggestions. I also talked about how I broke protocols for rules that could have got me canceled as well. Anyway, they'll cancel me retroactively eventually. It'll happen.
But when we bring up like the idea of the whole fantasy draft type of thing, or even a draft to begin with, I mean, Trey had said that Oh, it looks like, because the East doesn't necessarily have the full on problem of, oh, we only have 1, 2 teams and that's it. Compared to Vegas, who right now, yeah, there's 2 teams that you can identify going, yeah, these are the 2 teams out of the division. But at least from what I've seen this past week, even though the games weren't fairly close, there were still things on the Hunters that I liked that they can build off of. There were still things on the Gold, even though, yeah, getting blown out 78-0, there's things that they can improve on, that they can develop to get better. Haven't seen anything of the Stealth yet. We'll see that this coming week, but there's still, I mean, at least being able to develop the division to be more competitive from top to bottom. It's not necessarily that way when it comes to, because with the East now, you got the BIC, you got the U, you got the Animals, you got the Renegades now, you've got the Watchmen, you've got you've got at least 5 teams in the East now that you can look at and go, they're going to cause people a hell of a lot of problems.
And I find it interesting that there are people in the Western Conference who look at those teams and look at the result of Sunday and feel like that the teams out here in the upper echelon would not be able to hang in the other conference. I feel like there is still a fair amount of chirping from teams that are in this league and people who have been in it for a long time. But I believe that there is a scant amount of people on both coasts who are able to speak freely and openly about who and who is not ass. And I feel like there is this odd polarity to where they're trying to keep up the same energy that a lot of the East guys have, whether they're at the top of the roster or barely hanging on, whether their name's on the jersey or the team's on the back of the jersey. There is we feel like we need to make our place in this league and hold a specific corner. There are guys who exist for that reason or exist in this league within that. So they're going to try and put it out there that they can hang with this or that. And there are a lot of talented players in the Nevada division and in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
But until one of these teams can step up to Sick With It and Insomniacs and get the momentum, because the one thing we haven't been able to see, with limited exception, is any of these teams being able to shift the momentum on a James Burgoyne or Mark Gray coach team. And we haven't, the closest we've seen is the BIC, because they controlled all but the last, Corey, 2 minutes 17 seconds of that game.
Seconds, yeah.
So it's the level of coaching, the level of strategy, the level of understanding this game. I feel like the Sick With It and the Insomniacs had the personnel and had the mindset to adapt to this style of football quickly, concisely, and get the right people to do it. And the depth is a huge part of it. And Corey, I cut you off before you were going to make a point.
No. Because what I would caution in this league, right? What I would caution, any team that's really comfortable, beating the other teams in their division by 80 and then stacking the talent and all this kind of stuff. The first team that ever won the A7FL championship from out of the Northeast New Jersey division, right? It was the Pennsylvania A team. The Pennsylvania division doesn't exist anymore, right? They even had the Immortals come in, and the Immortals were, so good in PA that they demolished their competition in PA to the point where the Immortals were basically just playing every single game in Asbury Park. Sound familiar? Look at the next division that really existed was the Baltimore division. And in 2018, when the Gators beat the Vikings, right? Two teams that kind of both made the championship run, and the championship was in Maryland. That division got their success. And, since then, the Gators and the then Cobras folded in, and then kind of, merged and whatever. And now look at where the Baltimore division is you have a super team, the Buzz and the Heathens trying to figure it out with the rest of the talent that's out there. But there's not as many teams as there was at one point in Baltimore where there was up to 5.
Well, do we see, or I'm kind of thinking about it right now, is the reason why either some divisions were here, now they're not here, teams that were here, now they're not here, could the lack of balance in competition play a part in that?
Well, let's finish it out. So we started in PA, gone. We're talking about Baltimore. It went from a healthy 5 teams that were all competitive. They could play a lot of their games locally against each other. There were the travel games, but it was more here and there. And let's just be clear: a league like this, the more players, the more registrations, the more the league is able to do financially for the teams.
Yeah.
Let's look at the Florida division. Florida started, I believe, in 21, and they had 4 teams. The Nightcrawlers started to dominate. Where are they? So if we have to be very thankful for Mark Gray's ability to put out a sick-witted product that is comparable, at least, to what the Insomniacs are doing. Because I'm not saying this is going to happen, but when you have a team that's constantly dominating without at least that, throughout the history of our league, it was U Chiefs, SWG Bombers, BIC the U, right? And then in Baltimore, it was the Gators and the Cobras, or whatever the itineration of them was. Let's be thankful for sick with it, because with a one dominant team, what happens is that the guys that are getting their ass beat by that team that show a little promise, in the LeBron era of joining up, right, instead of fighting through, those guys leave those bottom teams to join the super team so that they have a shot. Now they get less playing time, they get featured less, they don't get the ball as much, so they don't become as big of a name as they might have been.
But they
right?
get the jersey and the ring
But
at
co-
the end of the day.
but unfortunately, if you go by those statistics, contraction is inevitable if you don't have competition.
Yeah,
Right, and you were just talking to and then I forgot. Look at the Ohio division. When
Yeah.
the Chaos were dominating it by winning by 50 the whole time, look at where they are now. The Chaos don't exist. They struggled to get 2 teams out there, and now they got to friggin' travel to the Northeast.
Yeah.
So that was
But
my
even
little.
within that, though, there's an opportunity there's going to be another team there next year. We know that, or some variation of that out in the Midwest. We've seen consolidation. We saw a lot of promise from the Crush and the Octane. Like, there's some good players on that squad.
Yeah.
I think consolidation can go a bunch of different ways, and it's based on who the people are and what the situation is. I'm excited because there's been a lot of good football in week 1, and I think week 2 and week 3 are going to be great. Like, next week, like, the games we've got this week are great, but next week we've got Animals, Watchmen, BICU, same day, same building.
Yeah.
And that could decide.
Stick with it in Insomniacs over in Vegas
that's
as well.
Yeah, and that's
it's rivalry week.
And that's a weekend. That's a weekend that if we had 6 or 7 games of that caliber every week, that's what the financial investment that we're looking for. Though that's what that financial person or entity, that's what they would like to see all season long. And the closer
more
we can,
competition throughout the highest level for everyone involved, for sure.
well,
And again,
just
that's something that we had been talking about here, going, we ask the question, what's it going to take for more investors to come in? And then we answer it with, we got some pros and cons, some things that need to stop happening. And then there are things that need to start happening. And I think the competition aspect, I went on a full rant about this a week ago. When you want the league to go to the heights that it can go, what we all here at least believe, and a lot of other people believe that it can go, that these types of decisions, when it comes to creating more competitive teams, having players who aren't playing as much, I mean, yeah, they can say, oh, well, we have our role, we have this, we have, okay, but your role is still minimal. Your role is still not what it could be, have you play on
we can
another team.
kvetch and complain and do and get mad about it, but there needs to be a reason for these guys to go take the extra mile and be the guy who steps up and does what Corey did, or does what Amir Chick Morris did, or any of these guys who are looking to build something on their own, like what the Santisteban brothers did with the Animals. They struck it out on their own and tried to build something. It took them years to build a winning team. And then Huff leaves, and they're able to build off of that. They didn't have a better record, but they set themselves up for the next, 5-7 seasons?
At least,
if they're able to develop with these guys?
to quote Rob, recruit, right? Remember
Yeah.
when Rob was on that? And that's
You
how
have
BIC got back, yeah.
You have to find the people and find the community that want to go out there and fight with you every single Sunday. Like, in every walk of life we have, in every endeavor you have, whether you're a football player, podcaster, tap dancer, doesn't fucking matter. If you do not walk in with a sense of pride and a sense of focus and a sense of dedication and determination to what you do, you're not going to succeed. And if you're just doing it to be there, that's dope. But you need to make sure that there are 7 other guys that are there because this is the thing that they need to feel alive, or this is the thing that keeps them connected to something they love, or this is their chance to show what they can do. You need to find somebody who is willing to put it on the line, willing to walk through hell in gasoline underwear for an opportunity. 17 years of my life, I've been trying to talk into a microphone. And I have had to bust my ass to get to this level. And if you don't think I am killing myself every single Sunday to make sure, even if I'm screaming and bellowing for those 2 yards, it's because I'm just trying to make sure that I'm ahead of when Delron Simmons goes 97 fucking yards on a run, and I'm ready to get there with him instead of having to take my time to build up to the call. So sometimes I'm going to be hitting that wall before anything happens.
No.
Because I give a shit. And if you're doing this just 'cause, or you're somewhere for the ride, that's dope, that's cool, that's what you need. But if you're running a team, you've got to find a Sterry Codrington. You've got to find a Corey Hammond. You've got to find an Anthony Wilkerson. Those dudes are dogs for a reason.
Yeah. There's
There's a reason they are here. There's a reason they care so much, and there's a reason why they leave it all out on the field. This is it's more than just going out there to show that you can still play football.
Yeah.
It is. Go ahead, Corey.
No, because what I was going to say is when we're talking about this topic specifically, it's something that I feel very strongly about. One way, I'm obviously biased in the way that I feel, but I will say this on the same note. I have heard the other side of it specifically from a former player And we've actually hashed this out on the 3-on-1. When Rob says, look, Rob is a good football player. Rob, when he went from BIC, had won a championship already. BIC was about to rebuild. He said to himself, I want to continue to play, but I don't want to play on a team where I don't respect the guys around me to know how to play football, right? So for instance, when we're talking about this hypothetical guys should find their own role, I don't expect anybody on the Insomniacs that plays a big role that they're happy with to jet out and try to figure it out on their own, right? I don't think that is a reasonable thing to ask any of Munchie's his friends. His friends are better, right? Like it's not realistic to ask him to do and him or his friends to do anything, because why would they? It doesn't make any sense for any reason, right? They're there doing the thing that they want to do the way that they want to do it. What I think the league should do is my hypothetical thing is, if you had a hard cap on the roster and you made these teams decide what 27 guys of the 40 that we have right now do we need to go into the season with to be at our best, you would have guys like, for instance, I don't know if this is a guy that they would keep or not, but when you look at the Insomniacs, they have a guy behind RTC and Juice that could definitely be a guy that performs and it contributes somewhere as a starting running back, the only guy, right? It's nice when you have the best offensive line in the A7FL, right? But if he was on, let's say, the Hunters, that could make or break the Hunters, having a guy like that Yodi Mac, for all that we could trash him for his performance against a really great team, and I think that's not necessarily fair to trash him for not being good against Sickwit. But imagine Sickwit with a guy like Devontae Carter or when Danye Lyons is your number one wide receiver option along with Munchie. Maybe Davitt Clark is like, bro, I'm just trying to catch pass. And now, obviously, he wouldn't do that specifically. But if you had a hard cap of 27 guys, look at BIC's roster. Isaac, Baby Joker Gomez, maybe he's a starting running back for a different team.
Yeah.
Or Umar Butter Lewis, maybe he's a starting wide receiver for a different team. Or Trey Cohen is now the slot receiver and starting corner of another team, and he has a Travis Hunter like two-way season. So I think that as we kind of talk in circles about making the game more competitive, we also do have to respect the fact that a lot of the reasons why these guys are playing with their guys is because even if they were to hypothetically shine more, and I support this man 100%. Look at poor fucking Savion Cunningham just running 3-on-1s back every fucking week, losing by 50.
And
me.
that's one of the things that I talk about, because Savion Cunningham is a great example, especially in the West. He hasn't. Could he go and play for the Sick? Absolutely. Could he go and play for the Insomniacs? I'm sorry. They would welcome him with open arms. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Yeah, they got Danye Lyons and stuff. But if you put Savion Cunningham and he had the opportunity, y'all are fucking liars if you tell me that you wouldn't welcome Savion Cunningham with open arms. But the fact that he has basically tried to do it with other teams, with the OTT, now with the Hunters. Does he know that they're probably going to get smoked every time they play the Insomniacs and Sick with it? Yeah, he probably 100% knows that. But he's still going out there trying to recruit, trying to build, and trying to help the rest of the division get better, which is the key aspect in everything. Like, I understand when you have a bunch of players. We had Scooter on, talking about it when he's, the Insomniacs are essentially a family who play with each other 365 days a year. Outside of the A7FL, they're also playing and competing with each other in flag tournaments all over the country. When you have that type of chemistry, you don't really want to break that up. And I'm not saying like the set guys on the Insomniacs, you know, need to, Munchie needs to leave, or Davik needs to leave. Or would it make things better for other teams if Munchie went to go play for, for the Stealth or for the Hunters? It would probably make that team significantly better. Davik Clark goes and plays for somebody else. Yeah, that make that team significantly better. But then it goes back to that what you said a minute ago, Matt. I'm wondering, because I didn't even think about this until you brought it up. The aspect of wanting to play for a team or an organization that you respect top to bottom. That you can go to this organization and, yeah, we may not be the top tier team, but we have things set in place that are going to help us get better. I don't know if that's the main reason why people aren't leaving and aren't trying to, expand and get different.
The reason why the Insomniacs are the Insomniacs is because that's a brotherhood. Like, the reason why the BIC and the Insomniacs are as successful as they are, and the reason why the U were as successful as they were when they were at their peak, was due to the fact that they trust each other. There's a community there for the most part. These are guys that have played with each other for a long time or have known each other for a long time, and there's a bond there. And they have we want to win. This is the way we're going to win. We're going to set out to do this. We're going to break each record. We're going to walk in, and then we're going to close up shop, and we're going to leave. And fucking A, if I can't be a hypocrite. I work with my best friends. Like, I get to work, I get to pick who I work with. And I pick Corey Hammond, Rob Fabian, Zach Morgan, Alex and David Silberman, Cole Gardello, Rocco Di Maiolo. Like, I pick my team because I know that if everything's on fire, these are the guys that are going to help me put out the fucking fire. And we're going to figure out a way to make the fire at least entertaining. So I get that mentality 100%. But I'm also the guy who has dedicated the last 5 years of my life to the A7FL. And that is not an easy job, not because the content isn't great, but you're fighting a battle against the NFL, the sports media machine, trying to find any kind of daylight in a vacuum of sports media, fighting against social media interests, corporate interests, trying to work yourself within there with minimal income, minimal capital, and just this. You have to go from town to town showing people it like it's the first Bible ever written because that's the only way shit works now. Or you're hoping the 78th time we went viral is the time it sustains. It is a very difficult thing to run or work in a sports league. I feel like people have short-term memory, short-term cultural memory. Pro wrestling and pro sports have short-term cultural memory disorder because we're the fourth or fifth generation of sports in this country being the prevailing dominant cultural interest. With the advent of radio and television, sports is American culture now.
Yeah.
So when you are trying to build in that and you do not have the capital, metaphorically or literally, to get any kind of oxygen, and you're doing something that's antithetical to the biggest cathedral in sports. Think about that for a second. If you are looking at, let's just say, Marvel or Disney, a Disney movie, that's the NFL. We are an independent film developed off of a Indiegogo that's able to develop, create, and put out stuff consistently. But it's not going to be slick. It's not going to be perfect because that's not who we are. That is not the brand. That is not the identity of this league. And I feel like a lot of people are starting to resonate with that it's pro football for a time where everything's a little fucked up.
Listen,
And
it's when UFC was on the rise as the alt league, boxing wasn't a religion every Sunday, right?
Yeah.
They were taking shots at when it was vulnerable. Listen, Matt said something. I want to ask him. Who would I think I should write it down to see if I'm correct. Who would be your first fantasy draft pick for the booth of the guys that are in there, just to make sure that he didn't get snatched up? I think I know who it is too.
wait, of us?
Of our booth. Yeah, you were like, if I get to choose my team, and then you chose your team. And then we're doing the fantasy draft. Let's do a fantasy draft. Who would be your first pick?
Oh, it's in order. It's Rob, you, me. I'm the third pick.
Oh, no,
because
not the three of us.
I'm,
I'm including the Sobermans and Zach and Cole.
oh no, I'm the. Yeah, no, it's Rob, then you.
Okay. I was gonna think you would pick Alex first, but anyway.
I legally have to because of that thing in Guam, but that doesn't count here because it's a hypothetical.
Fair.
That's a whole nother show I'm gonna ask you about.
But yeah, no, like in terms of our booth, like I'm the part, which is the truth. I'm the part you can take out. That is the easiest part to take out to keep the train moving. Because if you take me out, there have been games where I'm not there, weeks I'm not there. Corey can handle the reads. He can run the game. Rob is still able to be Rob. Corey's still able to be Corey. You can drop an LJ Smith or a Quattro Huffin in there to add another element. I'm the point guard. I'm the person who sets it up, establishes the tone, and gets the path open for these two guys.
And that's one of the reasons why I think you're being a little too humble on where you are.
Yeah, he's the quarterback of our team. When it comes to our team, he's the quarterback of our team, and Rob's the offensive line, and I'm the playmaker, which is saying something.
Yeah,
I'm the flashy diva
Corey,
that's always getting in trouble.
That's a call we have in the booth. There are times where it's just ISO Corey, ISO Rob. Like there's just we know to lay out.
Yeah.
Like there will be times where if you hear Rob talking, let's just say there's a reason why you don't hear me sometimes. And it's because I have to do all the other shit that needs to get done. Like I'm handling other things or different parts of my brain have to coalesce.
Me and Rob, I'll be honest, me and Rob, for when we're sitting next to each other, for as little space as we have most of the time. No, I'm just joking. Me and Rob even have, because Matt's role is look, that's, first of all, me and Rob are always going to step all over Matt. And somewhere, whenever we do that, I know that Michael K, like a heart cell dies somewhere. Poor Michael K, if he were to ever listen to our calls. Shout outs to Michael K. Yeah, I accidentally found out that he moved on from radio, and I'm a Boston fan, so shout outs to my guy. Anyway, Matt has his role, like that's him. Like you're the play-by-play. We're gonna step all over it. Rob's going to throw in a damn or a bye-bye or whatever, right? But then what's interesting is that me and Rob have to then share the analyst time. And me and him, for whatever reason, like he sometimes just goes, because it's got to be silent. Like so I'm like, yeah, you keep it. Or I'll see something and I'll like point. And then he'll be like, yeah, you go. And it's the way that it works out is I bet you if you which me being part of it is saying something. If you timed it out, I bet you on the other plays, me and Rob are probably close, without trying, me and Rob are probably close to 50-50. And for me to allow 50-50 with somebody else airtime,
That's why we did the podcast for so many seasons. It was like,
Well, the
all right,
podcast is different. I would just go sometimes, and then the Corey counter would go, and then they would just be like, "You just talked for 23 minutes straight without taking a breath."
there
The
would be
Corey counter
times where we would.
was a masterful addition. Not gonna lie.
I think that's Cole. That was Cole. I think that was Cole or Zach.
It was one of them. It was
Cole
one
or
of the
Zach.
boys.
It was Cole or Zach.
It was one. It was
You
one
know
of the
what?
shipping
Actually,
containers.
I think it was Zach.
Yeah.
But Cole says it more often because he wants to roast.
I mean, as he should. But fellas, always a pleasure to have you guys on to talk A7FL. Got another
Me and Matt would
week
go
here
forever.
for
We
week 2.
miss it. You got to do all the back end work. Me and him will just talk, right?
Oh, I'm okay. That's what I'm saying. Like when it comes to time filling and everything, I know who to call. I know who to be able to get over here. Like, hey, we need.
You
to
need
cover
some
at least
gas
2
bagging
hours.
motherfuckers. You call Ryan and Hammond at 1-800. We don't shut the fuck up.
If you got a bill in Congress that needs filibustering, we are the guys for you.
We just show up in white seersucker suits. I get Corey a pair of these glasses, and we just go in there. Well, I say now, gentlemen, distinguished senators, I do know.
I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. They're like, no, sir. There is no time for you left to reclaim.
Not at all. No. And but again, guys, great talking with you again. We're gonna talk to you guys definitely more throughout the season. Corey, let's get a winning streak going this
it's not
this Sunday,
about
hopefully.
me. The Hawks are a good team. I'm
As a
gonna
total,
do my part.
as a whole. I would love to see the whole thing.
The Hawks are going 1 week at a time. So we put last week behind us. We have a Heathens team in front of us that we have to take seriously and work hard and work together to come out with a victory. And week 2 is its own separate season. We'll see how it goes. And then whichever way it goes, we have to move on to week 3 only after that happens. So we're going to keep our heads down.
I like it.
We're going to keep our shoulders running into, poor defenders that didn't know it was coming. And
hopefully no elbows into your own teammates.
Well, if it's
one thing I want to say before I go,
And a gritty too.
If you're
The
watching
gritty.
the A7FL and you watch us on YouTube, the best way to help us, go to a7fl.com/watch. You still have a chance to watch us on your regular TV, talk with us in the YouTube chat, or go to Locker Room Chat. Download the app, it's free. But if you're watching the 1 o'clock games on YouTube or .tv, keep doing that. For our 4 o'clock games, Fox Soul, Triller TV Plus, Fight 24/7. If you've got Roku, if you've got Plex, if you have, I believe we're on Samsung as well, go to a7fl.com/watch. Pick one of those platforms and watch us on there too, because that helps us more than you could ever know. We need to show these networks, we need to show these platforms that our audience follows us. YouTube's always going to be a home, but the way you can help us grow isn't on just YouTube. It's going to these channels and watching us and showing, hey, if we go to a TV network and we're going to show our audience, we're going to bring our audience to you, we have to bring you guys with us.
And
So
the
you
4
can-
o'clock game, look, whip your phone out, comment.
No bullshit.
And watch the 4 o'clock game, which is Animals U?
Yeah, Animals U. You can
that's a TV. That's a TV and
that's a
phone
TV
situation.
game. Watch that game on TV.
That's a TV and phone situation, fans.
Yeah, and you can still watch the games on YouTube once it's over. The games of the week, the 1 and the 4, are still going to be on YouTube once the games are done. They're up there now. I think we're going to have something for the other games soon. We might have a YouTube subscription or something like that so you can get all the games. But we'll have more on that later. But I just wanted to say that because I know people want to support us and they want to be a part of the community. Our community exists everywhere, but we want to show these networks that we're bringing it in force. Stay in the YouTube chat. Fucking make fun of my voice. Call Corey old. Say he's got 87 fucking kids. I don't care. Engage. Whatever. Waste your time. I get paid to do this shit. You're watching television. Just, Make better use of your time and watch it on actual TV with commercials and not the YouTube slate that you see. Like, see the actual commercials that pay us. Like, do that shit, and then things will be dope. But love y'all, boys. Thank y'all for having me on. Baba Booey,
Absolutely,
motherfuckers.
sir. Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Ryan, again, Corey Hammond, appreciate you for being on, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the A7FL Week 2 is happening this Sunday. Get to it. Again, every platform, a7fl.com/watch. You'll be able to catch everything live. And appreciate you guys for hanging out with us for a little over 2 hours now on this Friday night. Good luck, River City Tigers, going into Saturday against the Outlaws, all the
Damn.
CFCA. Check that out. CUSN with the Prodigy out there making it happen for the semi-pro leagues. Appreciate everybody for hanging out with us. Whoever's been watching with us this entire time, thank you. Be able to like, share, subscribe here on the Jaffos TV YouTube channel. Go to the socials as well, on Instagram, on TikTok, on the Flip app as well. And we will see you guys here on the All-Pro JAFFOs again come Tuesday for a big recap of Week 2. So appreciate you guys. And for our family members, Mizzle and Dub Show coming up next right here on their YouTube channel, the Mizzle and Dub Show. So go check them out when you're
Are they
done
coming
here
on? Are
with
they coming
us.
on tonight?
Yep, Mizzle or Dub just said right now, Mizzle and Dub Show is coming up right after this. So
Hey,
head
let me be a
over to the
special guest. Let me be a special guest as a player tonight, Dub. Let me see
so,
how I feel.
so we'll see you guys again on Tuesday. Once again, make sure you like, share, subscribe, be a friend, tell a friend. We build together, we grow together. We've been having an awesome fucking community. I couldn't be prouder of how far this channel and this family really has come. So once again, appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys again on Tuesday. Later.